Alright, folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're back to discuss last night's game when it finished Celtic 3, Lask nil. An absolute brilliant performance at Celtic Park from Celtic, which puts us in pole position for the Champions League. Obviously, still get the second leg to play, but Alistair, what a position we're in.
I definitely, mate. I'm sure we'll get into it, but just to summarise, not a failure in the team,
Aye.
really.
Before we
Oh,
actually start, I want to actually mention this. I seen that a supporter passed away at the game last night. It took, I think, I seen Celtic had put something up this morning. So, just best wishes to the family, the support, and that.
family
Obviously,
and friends, aye.
I just thought I would mention that because I seen it this morning that somebody had passed away at the game last night. So,
That's
obviously,
becoming more and more common, Josh.
I know definitely. So, condolences on that, and all the best to his family and that. But no, in terms of the game, Alistair, I mean, I don't know. I thought it would have been tight, and I thought I wasn't really expecting. I didn't really know what Celtic I was expecting to come out. Was it? Was it going to be the usual qualifiers where um the it's pure cagey and they make an arse of it and they make it difficult for themselves, or was it going to be somebody that may come out where our tails up and we go for them kind of minute one. I would say, especially first 10 15 minutes, it was looking like it was going to be another Champions League qualifier special at Celtic. If the last scores within a minute of the kickoff, and you're just
29
thinking,
seconds,
you just think, fuck's sake.
but what a finish. Oh,
Aye,
I mean, I know it was offside, and thankful for your point of view, it was offside, but what a finish. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, Josh. I looked at you and I went, here we go. It's kind of, but then somebody shouted, don't want the flags up. But see, the problem with that is you've still got VAR in the back of your mind, so
aye.
but no, to be fair, and I'm going to say this about Lask. They never, they never turned dirty. They just played, and what a game it was. Actually, it was a bit too open with all the Celtic supporters, but no, both teams played the right way, and I will say that.
Aye, Casper Schmeichel kind of put it right after I think he won the panel for BT. He said it was like you were at Wimbledon, and obviously basketball, tennis, or whatever else. It
You
was just,
serve, we serve, kind of thing.
it was just back and forward, back and obviously it's good for a neutral, but you're wanting Celtic to be a bit more secure. Because that first 10 minutes, Alistair, I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
I
Then there's
mean,
this, the chance where it's just a ball and Carter Vickers looks like he's towing a caravan.
to be fair, it was the only mistake Big Vickers made all night, but no, that was probably as quick a chance as they had all night, Josh. I know
Aye.
Sanazalo had a couple of saves, but no, that was the most scary moment of the whole night, and it was in the first couple of minutes. I think it was right after the offside goal, actually. I'm like,
Uh,
here we go.
Aye, but I think even after that, I think we did eventually settle down. We calmed ourselves down. And I think it was just, I think then the crowd started to get a bit involved. I think it started with Donovan playing a really long ball towards Duran. He's unlucky, he can't direct it goalwards. But then I think that's when it started to do us right. Just calm down. We can be
Just turn
patient
them.
here. Aye, I think we were trying to force it too much when we were just gaining the ball back to Lask every 2 minutes. Instead, after that we kind of focused and thought, right, let's just try and play around them. Because they were pressing really high. They were trying to squeeze up, and so we were just thinking, just be a bit more patient. And the thing is, you need with that, Alice, you need good passers in the ball, and I think that's the one thing, the impressive thing that we done. I know there was a few misplaced passes, but on the whole, the pass
You're
completion,
always going to get that, Josh.
uh, the pass completion for the midfields was really good and we're really calm. And then we opened the scoring with a quite ridiculous finish from Benjamin Negron. Yet again, by the way. No
I mean,
bad for somebody that doesn't do anything.
I will put it this way. I mean, if you look at Benji Negrin's goal scoring record, he seems to love that kid type of goal. Motherwell, Dundee United, Lask,
He's a
all
good.
very similar.
Do you know why that is? Because he's a good football player. That's
Aye.
it.
He's got somebody to play off. And
Um,
we'll get to Casper Hook because I want to mention him.
he's got a ridiculous technique, Negron. Honestly, and this might be controversial, but I think he's got the best technique in the Celtic squad.
I'm
I
going
just
to ask you later that, so if you don't mind. But to rank the 3 goals, so
I will do
think.
that later on. But in terms of, and I know people say, but look at Duran's goal. I'm like, what I've been saying, that Negron showed it last season as well with some of the technique, the free kick at Tynecastle, the goal you as you mentioned at Motherwell, the goal against Dundee United, the technique that guy, even remember the goal at Livingston he scored
Aye,
under
aye. The one
Nancy.
he places
Aye, the
off
technique
the
that
post.
guy got, aye, it kind of places it in kind of the far corner. The technique that guy has got is unbelievable, and that's why I just don't understand what the flack he gets. I just don't think it's fair. Um, but no, he was brilliant again. Opened the scoring, and then shortly late,
Duran took over.
aye, shortly after, Duran thought, well, and you can do, I can do better. Don't know if it's better. I don't know. As I said, we'll come on to that later on. But no, another. I mean, it's the technique. He's just. I don't. He's walloped. He's just took that in half volley and just walloped it. I mean, it's ridiculous, man.
Aye, I mean, see, to be honest, Josh, and I said to you at the game last night, I said, you'll never see better free. I've not seen better 3 goals in one European night for Celtic in my life, and that's no exaggeration. I can think of better goals, Josh, but in terms of importance, but the technique in all 3 of them out of this world.
Do you know the only goal I think, and you've seen a lot more European or Champions League nights than what I have, thanks for Celtic. But but no one I can. And no, it wasn't at the same goal. I'm just saying, like maybe the level of technique, maybe like Nicholas Kuhn's against Leipzig when he just bends it like for a good angle. In terms of quality technique, that's kind of the only goal
I
I
know
can.
where you're going with that. I get a kind of sided about Carla.
Obviously, it wasn't the same finish. It was nothing like, they were completely different. But I'm talking about a level of technique. As I said, I've not really seen many Champions League goals at Celtic Park. But
I mean,
once
I've
again,
seen that. I've seen quite a few of them. All been in the one campaign,
uh,
mind you, but seen
I've
quite
seen a
a
lot of opposition goals. I've seen a lot of them. But but no, I mean, the technique. It's just incredible. And who would have thought you pay money for Champions League players that are going to deliver on that stage? Who would have fucking thought?
Mm,
That's what you
yeah,
pay the money for.
yeah. And as Martin O'Neill said, he's already paid his fee.
Aye, and that's what you pay the money for. I can't stress that enough. Um, but we're going to break 2-0 up. And at that point, I think we both said we'd take that, but I was kind of at the back of my mind, right? No, we've got them here. Let's get another one.
Aye.
Um, and we came out the second half. Either there was they were always you were always wary of them on the counter attack. But we came out the second half, and the hunger, the fight, everything that was missing for last season against Kyrat was there in abundance. Players were just
Oh, it was night and day
aye.
compared to last year. It really was.
Aye. No, it was just the fight, everything about it. Everybody was mucking in. Negrin was just buzzing about. Like, honestly, he was just buzzing. He was just. And honestly, I'll come out to separate players in a minute, but they were just you just thought there was an inevitability of a third goal coming for Celtic. Callum McGregor then hits the post, and he's so unlucky with the effort. I don't know how it's managed to bounce off the post and go like off the inside of the post and bounce back out. So he's like so unlucky, but I mean
Did,
it was just the hunger that they just looked up for it.
did you notice it adds? See if you watch it again, the one that hits the post, it actually comes off by Casper.
Did it? I seen the
I,
highlights and I'm like,
it come off Casper.
shite,
And
and he's get him to fuck his shite. Get him
I,
sold.
I will.
Pish.
And can I just say as well, Josh, I know you're tongue in cheek there, but
Obviously,
I
no, he's
think
not shite. He's no
I
shite.
think I think I think he's part in the second goal. But it's all down to Duran. But if he doesn't challenge the defender, it doesn't drop to Duran
No, but
because
there was a few occasions, which I'll go over in a minute, because we'll talk about separate players in a minute, because there was a few occasions where I thought Casper Ho played a completely different role, and he did played a completely different role to, you know, what we kind of expected, but which I don't mind at all. Um, the third goal, I mean, it's I think it starts with like Bauer in the corner. He manages to
what
get
a
rid of,
move, what
and
a
then
move.
it starts really well. I think we win it, and it starts with Trusty, and then we keep going, and we get it in, and even players that weren't on the ball, Hatate for instance, and we'll come on to him in a minute as well, because I think we need to mention him as well. He just occupies players, so they were going, allowing then Casper who lovely flick round the corner into Negron. It was just so simple, and then it was into Duran, and then I think gets it into Negron, and then he just puts it back. I mean, he's just again he's just whacked it, and it's just went into the top corner. It's ridiculous technique again, man, and it's three ridiculous goals. It's just that's all I can really say about them. It's ridiculous the technique on show last night.
Yeah, and see to be honest, Josh, I honestly thought, I mean, and this is a compliment to Duran and Yang. I thought, especially in Champions League qualifiers, we would miss Maeda. And I hate making this comparison, but I don't think we did because Duran put a shift in, and so did Yang, to be fair. So you could say they all mucked in, but the technique, we, we, we were we were passing the ball nice and crisp, and they couldn't get near us. And what I really liked about the second half, for the majority, it was all controlled. It wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, they created a couple of chances, but they're always going because they're a good side. But
Aye,
at the end of the day, we're limited. We're limited them, especially second half.
no,
Especially second half.
definitely. I think we limited them. I think I can only really remember that Trusty chance where Trusty slips and then Sinisalix has to save the
What a
finish.
save, by the way.
Um,
With it point blank.
Good save, but the finish. I mean, gladly, I think the finish in Lask was pretty dreadful, but I'm not complaining. But in terms of individual players, because there's so many we could sit and talk about all players here. So before I go into this, everybody played their part. Bench players, players that started. So just because we don't mention them doesn't mean I'm not saying they had a good game.
Martin, can you do me a favour before we move on? Martin, and you if somehow ever listens to this, don't put Hatate and Bauer on at the same time because I can't tell the difference because they
No,
move
they're
the
the
same
same
way. They're
size, man.
very
It moved it.
similar.
I honestly, I think it was. I don't know if it was James McFadden. It said that he's like it's just like an attack regen. It's like it's and I mean it. Well, the first player will come. Well, first player I think will come to for me Donovan because I think he's got a lot of criticism. No criticism, but it's just my opinion is I just thought he was going to struggle. Didn't struggle at all. In my opinion, he was solid, solid, and that's the difference for me with somebody like Donovan today and Murray. You can clearly see that Donovan is developing, and there's clearly going to be a player in there. Is that the new? I don't know.
Perfect scenario for me, Joyce, is bring a right back in and let Donovan go to Dundee United and play a full season.
See, I
We
thought that
can
right.
recruit.
I thought that originally right, and I was always on that train. But if he can play at that level, right, and this is no disrespect to any other SPFL team, why? Donovan should be able to back himself. After looking at that performance yesterday and going, I'm not saying one good performance makes up. I'm not, but Donovan should need to look at that and go, here, if I, because honestly, there was a few things, right? He's passing, that's going to mature as a player. We're talking about still a young player here. That's always going to mature as a player. So the stuff that he needs to work on as he gets older, that'll come. His natural defense, he's really good defensive. I've noticed, especially in Europe. He's
Aye,
solid
well,
in
if you remember his European debut, it was in Red Star, and it was brilliant that night.
he just
Up
seems
against
really composed. He just every time the ball gets into doesn't do anything stupid. He doesn't. He wasn't doing anything stupid yesterday. He was composed. You know, he done the basics right, and then there was a bit of quality in there as well. There's clearly a player in there, and I'd be if I was Donovan, I'd be going, here Johnston's injured here, and obviously
I'll
that's
get a
misfortune.
chance to grab it, aye, definitely.
Obviously that's we don't want Johnson injured. I'm not saying he's doing cartwheels because Alistair Johnson's injured or anything, but I'd be looking and go, here,
I've
why
got a
should
chance.
why should I go out and loan? And I get why, and as I said, I was all for the loan until last night. And I looked at that and go, here, if you're playing at this level, and by the way, people will sit there and say, it was Lask. I don't give a fuck.
Definitely.
You were at a Champions League playoff. That's hard for anybody to come in when you're barely been playing, and when you've got Johnston at the heights he is at, and then you're like, I need to try and reach the heights. Maybe he's not got the attacking emphasis that Johnston's got, but that for me will come with age and experience. He's second choice at the moment if Johnston was
By
fit.
a mile.
I
By a
truly
mile.
believe that. If we do bring it, I think we'll bring it all right back in anyway. I think, to be honest, I think it depends on how long Johnson's out for. I think the club will look at it and go, Johnson's no out for long. Say it's end of September, he comes back. I think
Well,
they'll go on
Martin O'Neill said last night that Johnson was going for a scan, so I hope it's no as bad as the last one.
I think it'll be determined on that. I think it'll be determined on that if we go for the right back or not. To be honest, and because I think Martin O'Neill will be looking at performance and go out here. If I
We
can
might
get
have
this,
won a watch with knowing it.
and the
I
thing
mean,
with
he's
Donovan,
going to have bad games. He's a boy.
that's what I was going to say. We can't, this is the thing. This is why it's so important. This is why I'm not getting carried away and saying, he should be starting all our games and all that. I'm just saying that maybe he might back himself to go. Do you know what?
It's
I can take
probably
this.
no bad,
Um,
but I would say.
I think there's a lot of development there to go, and we moan about our youth academy being shite. We moan about sometimes you're just going to deal with the bad games. And maybe eventually you're going to get a good player. He is
I
going to make mistakes. He's a young guy, and it's the same if he goes to Dundee United or somewhere on loan like that. He's going to make mistakes there, and I get it won't be scrutinised, but he also won't be playing at the same level for me.
I
You
just
want play.
I just don't think a Christopher Ayer type loan would do him any harm.
I don't think it would do him any harm. I think it would do him good, but would it do him more good than potentially starting European games for Celtic.
Aye, true.
And, I don't know. It's a tough one, but apart from that, I thought he was absolutely excellent. And you know what? He was, as I said, done nothing wrong.
Oh, he can be proud of himself.
No, definitely. Defence was pretty solid. Tierney was just as usual, in a good way, obviously. Um, Midfield, Negrin I've already spoke about, um, because he's just excellent. I mean, honestly, he's just, and maybe people are starting to see that he's actually a good football player. I think the problem is with Negrin as well. It's like, you got to realise he was in a shite Celtic team last season, and he carried this to the first
Well,
6 months.
when we were really struggling, Josh, I know Murray had done great after the split, but let's be honest, in the October, November, December time, it was on Egan.
Aye, definitely, and
Let's
I
be
just
honest.
think he stood out in a I team, and I said it a lot last season. I says when he gets some players round about him, you'll see the best of him. And now I think that's what we're seeing. He's got some pals up there.
Aye.
He's got his wee
And
Scandinavian.
I'm loving the bromance between him and Big Casper.
Aye, but he's got players like Duran who he can give the body without having to worry about having to run after it when
like
they
a,
lose it 2 seconds
like a
later.
Scandinavian Katie and Paddy Roberts, to be honest with you.
Aye. But even out with who, he's got players like Duran who he knows he's going to keep holding the ball. And I think, honestly, another player I'm going to mention as well, I think it's getting the best out of Taneki
Aye, because he's got somebody to hat.
because he's having to push himself as well, I think. So overall, I think, Negrin was solid as usual. Duran, I mean, Christ.
Oh, there's,
Um,
there's somebody I need to mention, Josh. Mika Bauer for a first
you stole my
start.
thunder there. I was about to fucking wait 2 seconds. I was going to go
No,
to him.
but no, mate. To be to be flung into your first starting, probably the highest pressure game of the season. I just thought for the guy, he he really stood out. Now I know they've been the as like I had next gen, but I just think that Mika Bauer is actually got in a good way a nasty streak, and and it's I just like the way he was backing his teammates up. If somebody went past him, he would never give up. I just I just like um the German mentality, mate. I think that is a that is a bargain. I think all the signings have been good in their own way.
No, definitely. Mika Bell for me, I thought he was excellent. Honestly, I just thought the maturity of the guy showed he was calm on the ball, but he also would try. When Cal McGregor hit the post, it was him and Donovan who were hounding the guy to get the ball off him. He wasn't as you said, he wasn't shy to get himself about the park, but he would also try. He wouldn't just pass it sideways and pass it backwards. Similar with Hatati, when he's on it, as we continue to say, would would try the he would try the hard part the pass, and fans might get pissed off at him because it doesn't come off, but he tries the hard pass. I thought he was excellent. Honestly, I thought he was absolutely excellent. And honestly, I'm going to say this: see people moaning about his height and all this sort of shit. That guy's feet will do the talking.
Well, I'll never forget your quote. Rangers buy cloggers, we buy
Football.
talented, skillful players.
Look at Hatati was small and he used his footwork to come here. Kyogo was small. He used it's all about technique. If you've got a technique, you can get by big, tall, physical players. As a lot of the Japanese guys have shown when they've came to Celtic. So there's more. I've not got any worries about Mika about it. As I said, it's one game. I'm not going to call him the fucking
Aye,
best since
but
last them, but
if he can cope in a Champions League playoff, Josh, he should have no problems in this league.
I think that was the pleasing thing. I think it was the fact that a lot of these players are coping in the highest level. And yet again, people say, oh, it was all Lask. Still Champions League, still the Austrian
Can I
champions.
remind you how the team that finished second got on against Hearts?
So,
And
so
that's when we kind of go to Hearts before you get this gets clipped, Josh. It's just me stating a fact.
uh, no, the last two players I want to speak about, Casper, who didn't score, and I think I was saying this in the way at the ground, right, and this isn't a criticism of the guy at all here, but I think he's not going to score. I think as many as people are saying because the amount of attention he's going to get.
We'll give the rest of the players a lot
Exactly.
of them.
Because, I've seen people mo he's no scored, and I'm like, he was never gonna though, because he was up against a back three of, pretty tall football players.
And
But what
then
it did,
the manager, sorry, Josh, the manager probably said, "Watch that big Casper who," and and uh, and it gives Iran, Negrin, Taneki, Yang, even Hazan when they come on, it gave him room.
aye, and that's
And
what he's gonna do. Half the reason he's here to score goals, but also half the reason he's there to be a vocal point. And that's what he done last night. I thought he done it really well. The last player I want to give a mention to, because there's been a lot said about him the last kind of few weeks when it came to moves. Real Hatate for me, when he came on the park, I was like, Um,
I know I heard you guys come. It was a
big,
kind of what we're going to get here.
and I thought, is it going to be somebody that's just going to throw the huff because he wants, or is it somebody that's knows he's wanting this top five league move as people are reporting? Is he going to come in and go, right, I've got a chance here to try and get myself in the shop window? And gee, to be honest with you, I thought it was solid. I thought it was solid. I don't think he done anything. I think he came in and but he'll see the players. It was like, right, if they're performing, I need to perform. There's no excuse.
Because I'm going to look bad if I don't here.
And I thought he did perform. He was. And that's what annoys the living daylights at me. Because he's
You know
clear.
he's good at it.
He's
I mean,
got that talent, and it's just I would wish he showed it a bit more.
just the thing about Hatate, and I'm glad when I mentioned it to you, Fair, that you thought. I genuinely thought, Josh, when Hatate was at his peak, I thought genuinely he could have got a top six club in England. That's how high a level that player we was capable of reaching. It's just so inconsistent. It's
Uh,
very good belief.
no, no, and that's just I think that's what's going to be the problem at that. And people say, would you keep him? I'm like, no. He clearly wants to go, and
I
if he
would keep
didn't,
last night's version, but
aye. But
we're
how
going to
many
get
times are you going to
that.
get?
That's the trouble.
You'll get that one in every 10 games. And Celtic can't. Celtic, you can't have players like that. I'm sorry. It's just you need consistency. You need consistency for me with Celtic. With the amount of games we're going to have, we're going to need players to turn up in Europe, domestically, and whatever else. As I said, he done really well, and I'm glad. I'm glad they get everybody was cheering for it going to the park, because I do think some of the claims that have been made, I just think some people are just. Now I've been critical of Tati, but I think my critics have been pretty fair. I think some people have just like, oh, he's sitting. He's no. There was a scene one. It was like, oh, why is he no? They were doing like a huddle and training. And he wasn't, and I'm like, mate, come on, like seriously, like it's not that big. Like I think people are just making wee things sound bigger than they are, and so I'm glad he kind of get a good reception and stuff. Because at the end of the day, Alistair, he's still been a fantastic player for Celtic, and that's not going to change. The last few months, the last kind of year or so has been pretty non-existent for him, but he was still been a fantastic player for Celtic, and that shouldn't change. When it comes to Atati,
I mean, the only thing Hatate's guilty of is probably been here too long,
uh,
and he's took for granted. And to be honest, Joy, it's probably one of the most skillful players that I've seen at Celtic Park. Well, you know me, I'm the original Hattati fanboy, but no, again, it's a bit like Arne Engels. You don't, you don't, you don't appreciate. You miss good play. Nobody likes losing good players, and I think it's only because Hattati's very. His man might either like Hattati or he don't. I personally do, but his man might. He's a luxury player at the end of the day, but
But
when it goes
I
up,
don't think Celtic can carry luxury players. No, to be honest, and I don't think that's what Martin O'Neill wants.
no, it's not a
You know,
Maitland.
Miko Abel, you could say was maybe a luxury player, but he was still grafting. He was still trying to do the best he could, trying back and stuff. So I don't think there's any excuse. I think that's just what probably Martin O'Neill's expecting for the team. But no, they were just kind of a few players. As I said, everybody was really good. Everybody kind of stood out. I thought, and there was no bad player in the park for me. In terms of man of the match, Alistair, I mean, you're spoilt for choice.
I don't think we're going to agree. We'll probably pick one each, probably easier than that way you have. I, I know you're probably going to go Donovan, but I'm going to go Duran.
I've got three candidates. I've got Duran, Negron, and Donovan. Do you know what? You've went Duran. I'm going to go Donovan because I was really impressed with the guy. There's a lot of critics and stuff and a lot of skepticism, but he came in and he looks really good. Honestly, I know it might not last and he might be rubbish, in the next game. I don't know, but there's just something there, and that's the difference for me between maybe like him or Dane Murray. Dane Murray, for me, I don't see it, but I can see something in Donovan. I can see him improving. There's a reason managers keep him around, and I don't think it is just because, we always joke,
It's
oh,
not because of the home going.
we always joke, oh, Ralston's still about, he's only there for what? I don't think that's the case. I think they genuinely see something in him.
It's not up to me to tell the Scotland manager who to pick, but he was there last
He was
night.
watching it. No,
So
there's no excuse.
Donovan's going to be should be in the running.
If he builds it, he's going to have a good run at that team now because of Johnson's injury. If he builds up a good run of form, there's no reason. If that manager wants to, I think even Scotland fans will want. I think the Scotland fans want a bit of freshness. So I think
Well,
they would
he's
be.
the under 21 captain, I believe, Josh. So
So I think fans will appreciate it. I think if he was brought in, and if he does play well up to that international break in September, I don't think that there should be any reason why he's not called up. But no, for me, Donovan. But as I said, there was so many options. Duran was outstanding. Negron was outstanding. Who was outstanding. Bauer was outstanding. Tierney, just everybody, to be honest. But no, I'm going to wrap it up there for today's video. Obviously, we'll get a game at the weekend, so obviously, if any news and it breaks will come on. But obviously, there's no game at the weekend. And the next game
I
is obviously
personally think, Josh, nothing will break before
the
next
Champions League.
Tuesday.
Obviously, next game is next Tuesday, that second leg in Austria, where we take a 3-0 league to Linz. But no, we'll be back hopefully at some point if there is any news. But until next time, we'll speak to you later. And hail, hail.
Hell, hell.